Hey everyone, and welcome to Already Cancelled. I am Peter, that is Connor, and we are going to talk about Star Trek, the original series, Season 2, Episode 24. It is called The Ultimate Computer. So, full spoilers for the episode, as always. So we had a bit of a stinker last week.
Yeah, and you know how the last few we've been going, we're due a good one. We're due a good one.
Uh-huh.
I think we finally got it.
This is pretty good. So the plot of this one is that Daystrom is this mad inventor. Well, I say mad. He's well respected. He's the I don't know who do I compare him to. I don't know, but he's held in high regard. He invented a bunch of stuff over his career, and he's got this fancy new computer called the M5, which the Enterprise. Oh,
Tesla. That's who you.
there you go. Thank you.
Elon Musk. So like that. Yeah, all that stuff. I mean, he's got a big flamethrower right now.
He's got a big flamethrower right now.
Google Elon Musk flamethrower. You'll thank me.
I'm pretty sure I seen a headline about that. Like, so a country, was it Australia, asked them for like.
Oh, you're thinking of the battery.
Was that battery?
The giant battery, yeah, where they were like.
They can do X thing, and it was like this impossible amount. He went away for a few months and came back and went, here it is.
Yeah, they had to build this battery in so long for whatever reason. They were like, it's going to cost this much, and he went, nah, it's not going to take that long. I could do that in 100 days. And then went, yeah, come on then. He goes, if I don't do it in 100 days, it'll be free. And he did it in 100 days.
Of course he did. So the Enterprise has been called in to test out his new computer, the M5. And the basic test is that it might be able to like operate the Enterprise without much of a crew, almost none in fact. And Kirk's objective, like, this is silly. Like, you can't, you need a crew. There's 400 plus people normally on a starship. That's how much we need. So he's very much against it. But that's the orders, so they're going to do it. And Daystrom's on the ship, and he's hooking it all up. And McCoy's very skeptical. Spock's just kind of interested. He's kind of fascinated. Oh, this is very high tech, sir. Spock walking his logical way. And McCoy's making a lot of jokes about him preferring computers because logic.
Spock and McCoy are at a high point in this episode.
They are indeed. And then the episode actually kind of splits into two halves. The first half of the episode is Kirk being faced with the possibility that he will be put out of a job because computers can just do it without him.
That's not something we're still talking about, is it?
It's not like Amazon are releasing, opening stores that you don't need any staff for, and you can just go in and...
Yeah. It started with self-checkout machines. Now we have, who needs even those? Just pay on your phone.
Yeah, I feel like you'll have like one staff member in these stores who's just there in case something starts malfunctioning to, fix it up. Yeah, they'll have one or two of those people.
Just to make sure people are just, scanning what they say.
Yeah, that kind of thing. But no, obviously this goes to the time period, I think, as well, as this fear of jobs being taken over by machines. I'm sure factories were upgrading a lot at this time.
Yeah.
And so you've got this idea that he's going to be, redundant, essentially, after this. And, it questions his character, like, does he like the prestige? Does he like the honour that comes with this job? Being a starship captain is without that. Like, can his ego take the hit that maybe he's not needed anymore? That's kind of the first half of the episode. And then the second half of the episode is, oh no, the computers went mad and it's going to kill us all. We have to stop it.
And I love both halves.
They're very distinct halves, but yes, both halves are pretty enjoyable. I think the first half is a bit more interesting from a character point of view, and then not to say there's not interesting character stuff in the second half, because I think the whole argument that it's actually equally just Daystrom's ego that gets us to this point with the machine itself, is fascinating, because he himself is trying to make himself feel worthy, because they mentioned he hit it big young. He invented something at like 22, and it was like the huge thing, and basically
got him
ever
a Nobel
since,
Prize, and they use it on every ship now.
That was another thing they did. They mentioned Nobel Prize and then something else that was just this made up other planet thing.
I think it was, how you get like Nobel Prize in physics, Nobel Prize in whatever. I think it was but in a new field.
No, they mentioned another prize. He said the Nobel Prize and the something prizes. There was definitely two prizes. Right. There was a made up one, which is why I can't remember it, because it was some different thing.
Either way, genius dude when he was like young.
And they say, he's been trying to recapture that glory ever since, because now he's just, he'll write journals, people, ask him about his work, but he's not seen as important anymore.
You don't want to peak at that age.
No. Well, we certainly did not.
Yeah, we got plenty of time yet. Our prime's ahead.
Oh god, that's a scary thought. What is our peak?
Oh god, if we've peaked, then what's the point?
If we've peaked, the world's doomed.
Yeah,
we may as well just end it now. Fuck.
Yeah.
Anyway, so we have robot computer goes nuts in the second half because it starts just killing anything. Like there's like a drone ship at one point that there's no passengers on it, but the computer just like says, "Oh, this is a threat," and just blasts it and destroys the whole thing. And Kirk and all that like, "Hey, we were lucky that had no one on it. Like if people were on that would have killed them."
Yeah, I think they never address it, but I was wondering, is the reason it does kill it is because there was no one on it? Because it kind of signals it and it doesn't get a response because there's no one there to send a response. I assume if it had gotten one, it wouldn't have destroyed it, right?
Look at you. Yeah, but it takes leaps. You say that then, but then it starts blasting at the other Federation ships later on.
Yeah. It becomes this self-preservation. It's too human, almost. It's alive, essentially.
Because that's what we find out later on, is that Daystrom actually kind of like put some of his own engrams into it. So it's like a duplication of part of him.
Based on him, yeah.
And it's trying to like preserve, because that's kind of what he's doing in a weird way. Is he's trying to self-preserve by trying to make himself feel like he's needed, like he's necessary. Like that's what he wants to feel, essentially. Which is why it's funny, because the episode does have that nice dichotomy of Kirk in the first half feeling like he's worried that he won't be necessary anymore, and then Daystrom the entire time is trying to prove that he is still necessary.
Yeah. Also, a little bit surprised it didn't go a little bit further with it. It was almost like, oh no, it's self-aware. It's it's trying to make sure it exists, and they didn't really delve into the AI angle as much as I thought they were going to.
No, they really didn't.
It felt like they were setting it up.
It's played as very logical rather than it's making a choice, if that makes sense. Because it's just like, okay, we try to shut off its power. Oh, it's found another power source, so now it's draining power from the warp core, so it has unlimited power essentially now.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, all right, so we're doing those things. And there was a Windows noise there because I hit the space key. I apologise.
You got too enthusiastic.
I did it. I use my hands a lot when I'm talking. You don't see all of it on screen because it's out of the frame. But I'm constantly doing this just under the frame, essentially. I don't know why, but
it's more professional when you can't see it.
It is. And the only times you do see it is when it gets really animated, because it's the point's really that important, so it comes up here.
Gotta get higher.
Yeah. So it feels like I'm conservative with it, but I'm really not. I'm just below the screen.
It's just constantly going.
Yeah. I'm basically playing a piano down here. You just can't see it. Like, my hands are just going. But yeah, so the action stuff's kind of fun. I do think maybe the rest of the Federation decide they need to destroy the Enterprise a little bit too quickly.
Yeah, just a touch.
Yeah, because once they sort of engage, because it's all a test. Like everything they encounter, other than the random drone ship, everything's set up. It's maybe a test to see how the computer reacts. So it's not meant to actually do any like firing of like photons or anything.
Yeah, I think they set to 1/100th power in the first encounter, like just enough to register a hit, but not enough to do anything.
Yeah, just a little taparoo. And obviously it starts firing on them, and they mention that it kills people. Like, oh, we've lost 50 people on this ship, that other ship lost 12. Like, we're losing people all over. And it is nice how when Kirk kind of like they've kind of gotten control of the M5 eventually, and the ships are coming to destroy the Enterprise. They've heard over the comms that this is happening, but the computers, like their comms to like call out, are still down. They can't talk to them. So Kirk's plan is just lower the shields and play, not dead, but just play, vulnerable. Deliberately be vulnerable.
Basically be an unarmed target. They won't fire on an unarmed person, essentially.
Yeah. And there is the chance, of course, that this is a tactic that the computer might have used to lure them into a trap. And Kirk, as he says at the end, he gambled on the humanity of this other starship captain to like make, because he knows him personally. He's like, no, he'll make the call. He'll trust the humanity that this might be a plea to say, hey, we've got it under control, but just we're not quite ready to
it's something I really like, because early on they address how one of the main reasons that they haven't just replaced with computers is the human instinct, and that gut feeling. And they kind of addressed that early by saying, no, he put his engrams in on it, so it has instinct of some sort. It has enough to go on, but it doesn't have compassion still.
Yeah, it doesn't have compassion or empathy. And again, it kind of comes back to those classic ideas of whenever you have like a robot or AI story where either you have a story of a robot learning those qualities because they actually do have a soul of some sort, if you want to put it that way, or you have this is why people are better than a machine doing it, because they can make judgment calls. They can say, sure, okay, yeah, logically I should let that child die and save like the 5 adults, but like a human being might not make that call. Like, a human being might go for the kid instead.
Yeah, exactly.
Not us, because we hate kids, but some people would.
Sure, idiots. I mean, unless they're really old people.
I like how there was a pause there where you might fight me on it to play the.
I thought about it.
To go against the joke, and you thought, no, I'm just going to go deep.
Yeah, no, I'm all in.
For the record, it's the kid drowning, there's a cat drowning. I know what I'm saving, right? I'm saying that right now.
See, that's tough.
I'll get scratched in the process, but I don't care. The cat's living.
That's really tough.
If I've got time, if the kid's still alive, I'll jump back in, but they don't.
I mean, how old's the kid? Is it a really annoying age?
Like 7, when they're just always talking and asking questions.
Even I might take the cat in this instance.
If you take the cat back to an owner, they may give you a reward for finding the cat.
Oh, they might.
Aye, the parents with the kid, they're just going to be like, oh, of course you saved the kid. You're supposed to save the kid.
Oh, yeah.
You get a cash reward for that.
No.
Sometimes I feel
tangible things. That's how you win.
Sometimes I feel like we're just playing characters from It's Always Sunny.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Yeah. That last 2 minutes was a joke, by the way, just in case anyone starts commenting with obscene things. So yeah, this episode's about humanity and why humanity is important. And Kirk feeling, because there's that scene where the other captain, because they do a test and the computer performs so well that they call, what was the word?
Dunster? Something like that.
Dunson or Denson or something like that.
Dunson,
they call it,
yeah.
Captain Denson. And everyone in the room but McCoy kind of like, it looks like, oh geez, that was harsh. And Kirk gets really upset and he gets out of the room and McCoy's like, what the hell's that? Who the hell's this Captain Dunson? And it's like, and Spock explains, oh, it's a term that's used at the academy for mid-level cadets. It's basically used to describe someone who's irrelevant and useless.
Yeah.
And I thought, that's a dick move coming from the other captain.
Like
your job's getting replaced as well, Sunshine. It's not like it's just going to be Kirk.
Yeah, but he's relishing in the winning almost, even though he's kind of losing.
Yeah, and so Kirk goes and sulks, and McCoy brings him some booze to try and calm him down a little bit. But that's kind of thing. It's funny. It's almost like it had to kind of go there so we could have a resolution of sorts. But at the same time, you almost kind of think, wouldn't it have been fascinating if we never got the computer goes mad part of the story?
Yeah, it would.
Or I shouldn't say go mad. It goes dangerous. It becomes dangerous because of its logic. It's not exactly psychotic necessarily. So, but no, I enjoyed both halves of the episode. Like you said, Spock actually cracks a couple of jokes in this one.
Oh, he does. At the start, him and McCoy are back and forth at each other.
Yeah,
I think McCoy's saying how, I hate when these things are redundant, and Spock says, there is one thing I wish computers had replaced. The chief medical officer.
Yeah, it's a good joke. And at the end of the episode, when they're debating again, and they're basically Kirk and McCoy are doing their thing where they're poking fun at Spock and trying to get him to admit that he likes having humans around, because they're saying, "Oh, what would you rather have, humans or machines?" And he just, again, he cracks a joke about, I said they were efficient, and therefore superior.
Yeah. Oh my! One of my favorite back and forths, I think, is the computer's done something impressive but dangerous, and McCoy's horrified, and Spock's looking as he does, and McCoy goes, "Don't you dare say that was fascinating."
Because he always says fascinating, yeah.
Yeah, he goes, "It was interesting." Cracked me up so much.
That actually reminds me of an old joke from Only Fools and Horses, of all things. Do you remember, for anyone who didn't watch Only Fools and Horses, there was a character on that show, Uncle Albert, who used to always tell stories about the war. And he always used to start off sentences by saying, during the war, and then he'd tell his story. It'd always be a stupid story, it'd always be funny.
Oh, every time.
Right? But there was one episode where he was about to talk, and the main character, Dell, says, if you say during the war, I swear, I'm going to hit you or something like that, right? And he just pauses, I wasn't going to say during the war. During the international conflict of 1939 to 1945, and it just reminded me of that, because that's what Spock does here.
Yeah.
He goes, no, I won't say that. But it is interesting.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm Joe rewatch of Only Fools and Horses. It's been a few years.
I could watch it. I do love that show. But no, so I like that. I like yeah, I like the actual like danger, the action of the second half with we're in danger, they're going to shoot the ships and we can't really blame them for trying to shoot us, and at one point when they're willing to like sacrifice the ships, like Kirk's like, yeah, but I mean because we know there's only 20 crew on board, including them, which is funny because to us that looks the exact same because we only ever see about the same amount of people.
Yep.
But like there's 20 of us for all these other ships that would otherwise go down. Like that is worth the sacrifice if we have to destroy it. But I like that. I like that when it does switch to that second half though. Daystrom trying to like keep saying no, I can fix it, and the computer's doing what it's supposed to.
He's constantly trying to justify it, isn't he?
Yeah, it's a lot like Kirk in the first half, kind of like trying to like prove that he's still, he's
it
still
parallels
relevant.
nicely, doesn't it?
Yeah, so there's a nice thing there. And it's always, and as McCoy points out, you always feel bad, but tough luck to everyone else who loses their jobs because robots and machines have advanced. Yeah. But it's always different when it gets to you, and it's you. Yeah. Admittedly, I can't see a starship captain ever being the job that gets taken.
No.
The person in charge is pretty much the safe one, typically.
Usually speaking, yeah.
Yeah.
That said, the computer justified its choices. When it was like, okay, what's the landing party? If the computer's the one making the choices, it is the captain, essentially. Assuming it didn't go mad.
Well, that's where it maybe became more interesting. And I'd argue there that, it shouldn't be making the choices, but it's the sort of thing where when Kirk's making that choice, he could ask the computer for recommendations. Because the reason why it picks one of the
geologists
is because they have specifically examined something in this sector before. There was specific experience that he couldn't have known. It wasn't like
because Kirk goes, "Oh, I'll take that one. He's the chief. He's the most experienced. This guy's kind of new in the ranks anyway."
And it was pretty logical. It was just a piece of information that would have affected it. But what I loved about this, though, it was almost a meta joke because it's like he picks a landing party, Kirk does, and he picks a couple of science guys, and he's like, oh, and also McCoy and myself. And then the computer doesn't pick him and McCoy, and it does actually raise that question: why do they always go on the landing party? Why, the captain shouldn't be going on landing parties almost never.
Exactly, and the computer's like, it's like, well, it got rid of the non-essential personnel.
Yeah. The real reason, though, and I think this is something that comes up in TNG a little bit more, at least from the few episodes that I saw from this first season, is that Riker, who's the first officer, is obsessed with keeping the captain safe, but the captain still insists on going on landing parties. And I'm like, if you're going into an unknown situation, that could be dangerous, you would never let the captain go, but it still happens.
But it's his call ultimately, so you can't stop him.
Oh, sure, yeah. But no, I was also a little meta jokes like, oh yeah, why does Kirk always put himself on the landing parties? I thought that was kind of funny.
Because there's ladies on the planets.
Potentially
is the answer.
Potentially, yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So that's why.
Some cool ship names in this. We got the Excalibur and the Woden. It's like, oh, it's nice to see interesting names.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, computer itself, glorious 60s nonsense.
Oh, exactly what I would expect.
Yeah, blinking lights and all sorts, and a little sort of weird sort of it almost looked like a fishbowl.
Yeah, doing a sine wave sort of thing.
Yeah, it was almost like water waving and a fishbowl, but there was this little screen thing they had on it. But hey ho. So no, it was a fairly solid episode. I wouldn't necessarily put it up there with the best of the best, but I think it was a solid episode.
Definitely the best we've had in a while, though.
Yeah. So no, we're actually getting dangerously close to the end of the season. Though we've got 2 episodes left, and then we'll be doing our top 5 episodes of the season. And worst 3. May even do a worst 5 this time because there's been a few stinkers in this one.
Yeah, we'll see how we're feeling.
Yeah, but that is episode 24, The Ultimate Computer. So let us know what you think of this one in the comments below. Like, subscribe, all the usual stuff. Get us on the Twitters at mailed_fuzz. And if you want to support the channel and get these episodes a week early, you can go over to patreon.com/mailfuzztv. There'll be a link in the description. But otherwise, that is us. So thank you once again. Keep watching TV, guys, and we'll see you next time.